How to stay detached. Everyone knows when manifesting you have to stay detached. The moment you start getting attached to the outcome, you fall into the slippery slope of wondering where it's going to come from, how it's going to happen, when it's going to be here, and you start focusing on the end result. I need to get my tripod. No, my light rather. And that is the second you start to come from a place of lack. That is the second that your vibration falls. What happens then? The manifestation doesn't happen. Because you started to let your vibration fall and you became too attached. You're no longer detached and effortless and open to receiving. When you're not detached, you're not open to receiving at all. There is no openness, there is no effortless, there is no high vibration for it to come through. And instead, what do you attract? Negative things. Things reminding you of the lack. Things keeping you in the lack. This is what happens when you're not detached. Whereas when you are detached, what happens? You're on a high vibration, so you attract more high vibrational things. Then you go on a higher vibration and you allow that higher vibration to attract you more high vibrational things. You're detached, so you're not wondering about the how. So you're open to it to coming in multiple different avenues, because when you're focused on one avenue, you're blocking out all the other avenues. So when you're detached, you're open, you're sat back and you're receiving, you're open for it to be coming in all sorts of ways. And that, when you start to become detached and you're like, yeah, okay, I don't need it anymore, I'm not bothered, it will happen and you'll be like, oh my God, through this route, through this person, I would never have thought. That's always how it happens. If you're thinking, oh, I want to see a butterfly tomorrow that's orange, like let's say it's like something really small like this, and you're imagining you driving the next day because you're going somewhere on this long road trip and you imagine seeing the butterfly then, and then on this road trip you're subconsciously looking out for the butterfly and you don't see it because you're trying and you're attached to the outcome and how it's going to happen, it doesn't happen. Whereas if you weren't attached, it might have come in a completely different way that you'd never even realise. Maybe it would have come that night, that same night, instead of the next day, when like you're about to go to bed and you're closing your curtains and there's a random butterfly sat on your windowsill. And you're like, oh my God, I never thought it'd happen like this. But because I didn't care how it would happen, I wasn't attached to the outcome. I didn't need it to happen to prove anything to me, for me to gain anything. Now it happened, and it happened in a different way. That's what happens when you're detached. It will happen a lot sooner and a lot faster. So how do we actually stay detached? Right, I've got 3 super good things to tell you about. I've got my notes down here, in order to help you stay detached. And as you guys know, through my manifestation triangle, we've got detachment, believing, and frequency. And if you don't have detachment, you will be on a low frequency. And when you're on a low frequency and you're attached, you don't believe it's going to happen. So the whole thing goes crumbling down and the whole manifestation doesn't happen if one of these things isn't present. So this is one of the 3 main things. First of all, you must have a strong desire to up-level your entire life. This is for manifestations that are not playing around with. You're not playing around. It's not a small manifestation. It's not this itty-bitty little manifesting a butterfly. This is like manifestation on a bigger level. When you're trying to manifest a new life, you have to have a strong desire to up-level your whole entire life. Because this will get you to look on a broader picture at your life, a broader spectrum of your life. You won't be so focused on this specific thing, like it's a financial manifestation, for example. But when you focus on up-leveling your whole life, you start doing the inner work around manifestation and your self-concept, you will improve your whole life. And this manifestation will be like, bam, it just immediately happens, and then it spills into all the other areas of your life. because you weren't focused on that one thing and you had a strong desire to just uplift your whole life. So your energy is just on pure transformation as a whole, rather than focusing on this tiny little, oh, I'm on 5k a month, I want 10k a month. And then you're spending all of your time, all of your energy attached to this one this smallest little timeline in the whole timeline of infinite timelines. And it's like, this is just so much. It's so stressful. It's too much. It's just unnecessary. If you just have this desire to up-level yourself and you visualize yourself as a whole up-leveling, what does the life entail? Why do you want the 5k to the 10k, right? Because it's not because you just would like get happy of having 5 to 10k. Like, no, there's a reason behind why you want it. What's the life that you're going to have when you're on a 10k a month? Who are you going to give more money to? Are you going to help your family out? Like, those are the things you need to be focusing on. You up-leveling as a whole and giving the greater good to the world and up-leveling yourself, your appearance, investing in yourself. Maybe you get a therapist or a coach or a mentor. What will you do with that money? That is why it's so important to up-level your whole entire life and have a desire to do the inner work and become the next level version of you, rather than just focusing on these itty-bitty little things that people focus on in manifestation. And it's the exact reason why everyone's thinking, why didn't it come? You're too attached to this one thing, right? There's no desire to truly elevate. They see it like a magical little experiment almost, right? And then it's just the complete wrong idea of it. Manifestation is a transformation, not a game, you know? I mean, it's fun like a game, yes, but you know what I'm saying here. So then the second thing is to make sure that it stays a want and not a need. And when you're focusing on it so much, like, I want this 5k to 10k, I want this 10k to 20k so much, like, and then you start thinking of it like obsessively. You start thinking of all the things that are going to happen as a result of this tiny little increment, and you start attaching all of these outcomes to this tiny little thing, right? Not only do you exclude all the other timelines from giving you that thing because you're focused on this one thing, but also you turn that want into a need then, because you're like, this is now attached to my whole life expanding, and therefore now I need this to happen. Like, this has to happen in order for all of this to happen, in order for my whole life to change. Like, it's not this manifestation will happen and then your life will change. It's your life will change and elevate and then the manifestation will happen. That's the thing people get wrong, which is why it's so important to do the whole life transformation, the inner work, the self-concept work, so that then your manifestations will just happen effortlessly anyways, if you come at it from a broader perspective. When you start to change your life will change. Your manifestations will just happen naturally. No one manifestation will completely elevate all areas of your life, because even if you did manifest it randomly, miraculously, your life you will still be the same person. And if you're still the same person, who's to say that you're going to be able to manifest bigger? Because you haven't changed your mind, you haven't changed yourself, you haven't changed your identity, you haven't changed, you're still the same person. So you're still subject to putting in all the effort that you did, getting in the mindset every day, working really hard to help your vibration and keep it high when it is high. Whereas when you elevate the person, these things become effortless. You don't have to try to elevate your vibration. You don't have to try to manifest, you just decide. You see, you go through the effortless route rather than the trying route, because then you'll be forever trying in order to manifest tiny little incremental changes. You don't want to go through all of this effort every time you want to increase your revenue by 5 grand. That would be exhausting. No. So you have to also be able to ask yourself regularly, like check in and be like, do I need this to happen? Is this a want or is this still a need? And there's a very fine line in this, because you might think that you want it, but if you start really wanting it, like you literally alter, like I did this once, I was trying to manifest something really big and it didn't happen because literally I was altering my entire life around it. I was like to the point where I'm doing my gardening and I'm mowing the lawn, and I was like, there's no point in doing this because my manifestation is coming soon. I won't need to do this particular thing soon because this is going to change. And then you start purposely doing things because you think the manifestation is coming. That's when you're too attached. That is when you are too focused on it and you need it to happen then, because you've already invested so much effort and time. Like when I'm doing the gardening and I'm like, this doesn't need to be done. Like, what's the point in even watering these plants? Because this manifestation is going to come soon and I won't need to do it. And then without you realizing, that is now a need because you're so invested in it. You see what I mean here? So the way to realize is it a want and not a need, is being okay with it not happening. That's probably the biggest way of knowing whether it's a want or a need. If this is truly a pure desire, you know you don't need it. You're okay with it not happening because it's just a desire. And when it's a desire, it comes from a place of love, and it has to come from a place of love and not lack. If it comes from a place of lack, completely already, it's just the whole manifestation triangle is just collapsing at that rate. It has to come from a place of want. It has to come from a place of desire and a place of love. And obviously when you need something, it's a lack and it's a place of need. So you have to be okay with it not happening. Ask yourself daily, not even daily, like if you're asking yourself these questions all the time, already I think that's too much effort. But reflect on yourself after this video. Am I okay with this manifestation not happening? And if you're not okay, that's fine. It just means you need to do the wider, deeper self-development work to elevate your vibration, your mindset, your being in itself first. Gratitude. Oh my God, huge. Journaling. It's huge. All of these things to help you do number 3, which is remain in the present. You have to stay in the present in order to detach. So, directly rolling from what I was just saying, gratitude, journaling, all of the things to help you remain in your current present life and be happy and in a high vibration that will keep you detached. You have to be in the present of now, rather than when you're trying to manifest something else, you are in the future. You are going to start feeling the lack when you're constantly living in the future. When you're constantly visualizing and imagining and acting as if and constantly living in this end desire. And I don't mean live in the end desire, because that is actually a good thing, but I mean live in the end desire from a place of love. But when you're living in the end desire from a place of lack, and it's starting to feel funny when you come back to the real life, that is when you know that it's too much then. You're constantly living in the end desire too much, that it's making you desire it too much, and it's making you want it. And now you're not in the present anymore, you're in the future. So it needs to happen because this is your new reality now, and you're so attached to it because you're like, this is it. Like, if I don't get it now, like, I'm not going to be happy. You have to help yourself remain in the present moment. You're going to become impatient then as well. And then impatient causes low frequency. Low frequency is attached to not believing in yourself, not believing in the universe or your desire. You're always going to be looking for the next best thing as well, which means you'll never be satisfied if you're not in the present moment and enjoying life as it is. As I say, you have to be grateful for where you're at, but excited for where you're going. Use that as your affirmation. Grateful for where you're at, but excited for where you're going. You have to find the middle ground. You have to be grateful and happy for where you're at in order to manifest from a place of love. And you can't constantly be in the future, and you can't be too much in the now to the point where you're comfortable and you never want more, and therefore you never elevate constantly in life, which is where a lot of people get stuck in. A lot of people nowadays, I'd probably say 99% of people, are either too much in the future or too much in their current reality where they're too comfortable and they don't want to elevate because it's too uncomfortable. So they're sticking safe. And then too many other people are constantly thinking of what if What would my life look like if I was this person and I had this and I had that? And they're just too much in either side. They're not in the middle. They're not in the present moment. They're not doing the gratitude work. They're not working on themselves to the point where they can hold the new reality and come from a place of love. And this is exactly what we teach on my channel. Always do the shadow work every day. Work on yourself every day in order to remain in the present moment. Work on rewiring your nervous system. Not rewiring, sorry. Relaxing your nervous system. When your nervous system is always on a heightened mode, it causes anxiety. It causes us to want to scroll, to watch movies, TV shows. It causes us to want to go out, to distract ourselves, to go shopping when we're unhappy, to buy something when we're unhappy, to constantly stay stimulated. Because we're overstimulated, and this is what causes us. Overstimulated through trauma, through stress, will cause us to be in fight or flight mode, causing us to have a low-grade cortisol running through our body at all moments in time. This caused me to be caffeine addicted for years. Caused me to think I had ADHD because that's how much of a heightened nervous system I had. I was constantly fueled by caffeine, and I felt low if I didn't have caffeine because my nervous system was so heightened, and I was trying to protect myself from feeling low and unsafe. And I tricked myself into thinking I was happy all the time, but it really was just basically the caffeine, right? Whereas you want your nervous system to be in parasympathetic mode, which is rest and digest. You will have a better digestion. So if you already have digestive issues, it's because your blood circulation, your blood flow is not in the bottom here, it's in here all the time. So you're not digesting. If you look at the nervous system nervous system dysregulation signs, you will see that when you're in the heightened nervous system state, you will have all of the negative effects of life. Depression, sadness, anxiousness, you'll be overstimulated, stressed, all of these things. And you'll see that when you're relaxed that's the time where your body stays in its body and your attention is in your body. And that's where your body gets to like actually digest stuff. Which is why at night time, when you sat on the sofa and your body's like blah, 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 blah. That is you digesting because you're finally giving yourself time to relax and sit still and focus. This is why when you're in the shower, you have shower thoughts. And like the biggest, greatest ideas come to you when you're in the shower. It's because you're resting. You're in relaxed mode. You're switched off. This is what we need to be in all the time. Imagine your whole life was just full of shower thoughts. Imagine your whole life was as relaxed as you in the bath. Imagine that was you all the time. You that calm all the time. Never triggered, nothing. Always had flowing creativity, flowing manifestations, the lot of it. That's what happens when you relax your nervous system. So I guess that was number 4, even though I didn't have a number 4, but number 4 is regulate your nervous system. And I'll do a proper in-depth training on nervous system one day. But for now, yeah, I'll just start telling you about it so you can do your own research for now. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video on how to detach. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down below and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!